Soldiers who always deploy in the hottest zones. Dozens of successful operations across the entire front line, and the longest raid of armored vehicles behind enemy lines in history. So who are the airborne assault troops, these daring soldiers that undertake the most challenging missions?
The cool thing about the airborne troops is that there is no babysitting. It's about preparation for all sorts of shitty situations. They teach you to do 10 things at once. Airborne troops, that's powerful.
Mariinka, Bakhmut, the defeat of Russians near Bilohorivka, the defense of Kyiv, Kherson, Mykolaiv, the destruction of nearly 100 enemy air means of attack. The airborne troops always fight in the hottest spots, and they fight successfully. In late October, Russians attempted a sudden assault on airborne troops in the Donetsk region. As a result of just one battle, 5 tanks, 4 IFVs, and 20 invaders were destroyed. At the end of November, a Ukrainian assault group broke through the enemy's defense, cleared bunkers and trenches. On that day, they managed to free another several hundred meters of Ukrainian land. In the fall, airborne troops played a crucial role in liberating Klishchiivka in the Bakhmut direction. Their overall task is to be where it's most needed.
First of all, I think that this is the skill to quell your own fear and the instinct of self-preservation. Because when you are going to the position, everything is trying to kill you.
All this was accomplished despite Ukrainians not being able to use the advantage of airborne forces, sudden airdrops. Russia fears crossing the front line with planes, but still dominates the sky.
At the moment, no one is jumping with parachutes because the sky is dangerous. We are doing artillery work, plus work on the ground, on different objects, forest belts, and so on. There are different types of landing, from a helicopter, from an airplane. But you can also land with heavy equipment, jump out of an APC to the ground, and advance. This is also a landing. Then comes an assault. Assaulting is quite challenging because it requires willpower and strong character. You have to suppress the fear within yourself and act to complete the objective.
Assaults and exceedingly complex tasks are the specialization of paratroopers. My favorite story is about the Ukrainian 95th Brigade. It is the best brigade of its kind in the world. I know for sure because I've seen a lot of them, said the former US Marine and Margaret Thatcher's advisor, Philip Carber.
If it wasn't for the airborne forces of Ukraine, this war would have already been lost.
Carber refers to the famous raid by the 95th Brigade, which he called the largest and longest raid of armored vehicles behind enemy lines in recorded military history. In July 2014, due to Russian military aggression, Ukrainian units found themselves surrounded in the southeastern part of the Luhansk and eastern Donetsk regions. To break the encirclement, a bold plan was developed. 1,000 fighters from the 95th and several other brigades marched over 470 kilometers, including 170 kilometers with combat engagements. During the raid, Ukrainians destroyed several checkpoints and Russian artillery divisions that were already on the Ukrainian side of the border. Most importantly, the 3,000 fighters and over 250 pieces of equipment broke out of the encirclement. The mobility of paratroopers allows them to be deployed anywhere where an unexpected strike can annihilate the enemy. It's no wonder that the motto of the airborne troops is "Always First."
Our unit carries out tasks in tank dangerous areas and at the junctions between battalions and anywhere assistance in destroying tanks is needed. We work with javelins, faggots, and Stugna P. In total, we've already destroyed over 40 armored vehicles.
In addition to anti-tank weapons, the airborne troops are equipped with a variety of military equipment. As an elite force, the airborne troops have been supplied with modern Western weapons, including Australian Bushmaster armored vehicles and French VAB armored personnel carriers. The Challenger 2 tank has particularly impressed paratroopers.
It's like a sniper rifle in the world of tanks. It set a world record hitting a T-55 from 5 kilometers away.
The fighters have already experienced the fundamental difference between the Soviet and Western technological approaches.
I've driven T-64, T-72, and T-80. I fought on the T-80. It only has one run. Once you're hit, you don't have many chances. The ammunition immediately detonates, and you go flying through the air. Then they pick you up from the fields. But in this tank, the ammunition is arranged in a way that it can withstand several hits. Even if it gets hit, a detonation is not guaranteed. Everything's designed for the people.
Talking about unusual equipment, reconnaissance units of the airborne troops use almost silent electric bikes of Ukrainian production, capable of reaching speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour. As soon as the airborne troops receive new weaponry, they send its samples to their training camp. The training of airborne forces has become in a way legendary. The day of a recruit begins at 6 a.m. and ends at 10 p.m. Throughout this time, they train with almost no breaks. The main challenge is a 315 meters obstacle course, which includes 10 elements: an area with barbed wire, a concrete obstacle in flames, clearing of vehicles, clearing of buildings, and as a bonus, evacuation of a wounded soldier through all these stages. The standards for paratroopers include about a dozen physical exercises: running, swimming, endurance and agility exercises, hand-to-hand and knife combat, and even a sapper shovel combat. Intense training plus modern weaponry, and the paratroopers indeed become an elite force even on the international level. In 2018, the organizers had to change the scenario of the Sabre Junction global military exercise. The objective for Ukrainian paratroopers from the 95th Brigade was to scout the enemy's forces' location. However, in addition to the initial task, they also captured the entire operational tactical center of the enemy battalion, along with all the documents. Continuing training according to the plan after such an event made no sense. It's not surprising that nearly 30 paratroopers have been honored with the highest state award, the title of Hero of Ukraine. One of them is Major Vladislav Bandar. Early in the full-scale invasion, he sustained severe injuries and lost an arm.
President Volodymyr Zelensky asked about my condition. I replied that I'm still motivated, feeling positive and confident that my arm is still on the front line, continuing to shoot the enemies.
After rehabilitation, Vladislav returned to his brigade. The oath of the servicemen of the airborne assault forces includes the following words: "I will never accept defeat. I will never retreat in the face of difficulties. I am a defender of freedom and the people of my country. I am a paratrooper of the armed forces of Ukraine." The airborne assault forces continue to uphold their oath.